welcome to another episode of Stock Talk. My name is Amin Reina. I'm an investment coach here at Sage Investors, and today I just want to talk a little bit about emotions and how it kind of screws us up and when we're investing. And the thing about the last couple of months, we've gone through a little bit of a pullback in the markets, and like all pullbacks are really a good test of our emotional resolve. And a lot of times when the markets do go down, we tend to not react really well to it. And the thing is, that's normal. We're humans, right? Like, one of our core values, or that kind of drives every one of us, is that when we're experiencing a bit of a stress point or experiencing a little bit of adversity, our natural human reaction is to do something, anything. So when the markets are going down and we see our portfolios falling down, we're prone to saying, okay, we have to do something. We have to look at our selling something. We might have to tweak our strategy, go into a totally reallocate things into other different, less riskier assets. That's our natural tendency, and that's how it works. And I posted a blog about last week talking about how the fact that during market times of stress, that it's really hard for us, all of us, to just simply do nothing and simply just take a very passive kind of approach instead of reacting to do nothing. And it's such a hard trait for all of us to do. And just to give you an example of what stress can do to us, happened to me literally over a month ago. I wrote about it on my blog. I was at my sister-in-law's place. Family was over there hanging out, and for one of the kids, I forgot one of their bedtime clothes. So luckily we just lived down the street, so I just drove down, went down back to the house, got a bunch of stuff, went back, and just hung out. Then all of a sudden I got a phone call or a message on my cell phone saying from this area code, and I thought, okay, it must be like a telemarketing kind of thing. And then sure enough, we got the same message. My wife got the same number, and so we thought nothing of it. But then we got a voicemail message saying, my wife got a voicemail message saying that the alarm at the house had gone off, and police were going to be dispatched shortly. And we both looked at each other, and basically I looked at my wife, and I kind of freaked out because this has never happened before. And so I quickly said, okay, what do we do? And my wife was pretty calm about it. She says, you know what, we just call the alarm people and try to resolve it from that perspective. And I said, okay, fine. But meanwhile, there could be somebody in our house running through our stuff, taking all our stuff, trashing our house. And so I was kind of being very, I was sort of like, okay, I got to do something. Like, we just can't sit here and just, call a customer support place and find out what's going on. So I said, you know what, I'm going back to the house and I want to see what's going on. So I got in the car, drove all the way back, kind of like a madman, and I got back to the house and nothing. Doors closed. Didn't seem like anybody actually had gone in. Everything was kind of good. And I kind of noticed when I looked in the door that I saw some party balloons kind of move by and happened to be close to where one of the motion sensors are. And so I just realized, oh my God, you know what? Maybe just the balloons kind of just tripped off the alarm. So anyway, we called the alarm company, my wife did, and then basically resolved it and said, don't send the cops. They were actually literally on their way to the house, and we managed to call them off, and that was the end of it. But it just showed me, that example just drove home the fact that when we get into these kind of stressful moments, we feel like we have to do something. It's so hard to just kind of sit there and just say, you know what, let's ride it out and see what happens. It's just, we're all built in. We all have this in our DNA, in our little ticker here, to do something, to react. And so I thought about this, and I go, wow, this is so similar to like how most people deal with like investing decisions. Is that when the market pulls back and has a crash, and they see their portfolios going down, it's like the first thing people want to do is just not like, oh, take a step back, but just more, I got to do something. I got to call up my broker. I got to call my advisor. I got to do something. And a lot of times, those are just the worst times to be doing things. Really, ideally, what we should be doing in these kind of stress moments with our investment portfolios is to step back and kind of dig a dust off our investment plans or review our investment ideology and see, okay, what are our core principles here that we're making investment decisions along with, and And we need to be more mindful and more thoughtful in terms of executing our strategy, executing that investment plan, executing that an investment ideology that we've developed in terms of how we buy and sell investments and stocks and bonds and stuff like that. It's really all about clinical execution during times of stress. But again, we're so not wired to do that. And a lot of times what I do as a coach is I work with people really to help them deal with those emotions when they're facing these kind of stress point moments with their portfolios, and to kind of avoid them from potentially making decisions that are going to really hurt them in the long run. It might allow them to sleep well at that evening or that night, but in the long run, they're probably doing more damage to their portfolios. Case in point, in January, when the markets were all pulling back and crapping out, a lot of people, as naturally were getting out, didn't want to deal with the risk of it all. But if you had just sat back and just literally did nothing, most of your investments probably did fine. Most of them probably recovered. And if you were smart and strategic about it and had an investment plan which involves adding to positions during those times of market pullbacks, you'd probably be ahead of the game right now. So it's so critical to really have an understanding of being an awareness of what your emotions are and your discipline and how you make those investment decisions and how you deal with the external stimulus that's out there that really challenges our emotions and our way of thinking. And the best, is during those times of stress, it's just really critical that you kind of resist those temptations to do something. And really, it's all about clinical execution. And unless you have a situation where during a market stress or a market pullback or a crash or something like that, certain poor elements of your portfolio have undergone like a negative game changer moment. Like if you've owned stocks in a company that's committing fraud or like committing accounting irregularities, well then you know what? Then you kind of have to do something about that. Those are kind of negative game changer moments that are just not going to impair your portfolio or impair your investment decision long term. So it's something that it just happened to me like a while ago, and I thought, wow, that really has a real key draw into how we invest and how it can really impact us in how we're investing. So I thought I'd share that with you. You can read the blog. It's on my website, www.sageinvestors.ca. If you have any questions and you want to talk about want me to talk about some specific investing concepts or ideas out there, you can hit me on Twitter, hit me on email through my website, or you can direct message me on Twitter. My handle is @SageInvestors. So that's been another edition of Stock Talk. My name is Amin Reina of Sage Investors, and we'll catch you again another time. All right, take care.